Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today said no country can tolerate a wanton attack on its civilians. But of course, in terms of the facts, the numbers, Israel is also killing civilians in Gaza. So, and knowing that civilians are going to die, right?
Situation is simple. We have a terror state right next to us that's been bombarding us with over 1,200 missiles just over the past week on our cities deliberately, and we're responding. Now, Hamas is killing its own children because they embed the missile launchers inside kindergartens, inside hospitals. I've seen it with my own eyes. That you have a kitchen, you have a living room, you have a family room, and then you have the missile room inside a residential house. When you do that, it means you're killing your own children. So yes, when someone shoots us in Israel, we do respond. And if there's children next to the missile launcher, then it's Hamas who's killing them.
Rula, what do you say to that? This was the argument the Israeli ambassador made too, that Hamas uses children as human shields, whether it be mosques or schools, putting militants in those locations.
Well, if Hamas is a movement, I mean, Naftali said it's a state. Gaza is not a state. Let's remember, Gaza is under siege. It's part of what's supposed to be a state that was never happened to be a state. Israel occupied the West Bank since 1967, and they never gave them anything. The truth is, if Hamas is a movement or a terrorist group, and they are doing what they are doing, Israel is a democracy. So the answer of a democracy, when we know that there are civilians, we try to avoid casualties. We try to do our best and find solution to solve the conflict. But we are answering their attacks with other attacks and a spiral of violence. You are building more hatred, Mr. Naftali. You are not solving and providing solutions here.
Ms. Jebreal, I don't provide solution to terrorists. We have to eradicate terrorism, and that's exactly what you're doing. Let me be very clear.
But then negotiate with the other side that actually
showered with missiles.
Sorry, there's a bit of a delay.
Imagine your house would be showered with missiles. I'm asking you, would you tolerate that, or would you respond? I think Mrs. Jebreal is speaking nonsense. I have to be very frank about that. Now, let's be clear about one more thing.
I think
7 years ago, we vacated the Gaza, and we handed 100% of Gaza over to the Palestinians. They founded an independent state. 10 days after we handed over 100% of Gaza, they began, no, it was not under siege. They began shooting missiles at my family, at 1 million homes in southern Israel, and then we responded. So there is an aggressor, and we're on the defense.
Mr. Naftali, you are negotiating already with Hamas in Egypt directly. You negotiated with Hamas already a year ago over Gilad
There's only one thing we got to do with terrorists, and that's hunt them down.
Hold on, both of you. We have a bit of a delay, so if you could wait for Rula, please finish, and then Naftali.
Yeah, I mean, he's really dishonest, and I'm sorry to say that. You're negotiating already with Hamas. You have guys, Israeli guys, already in Egypt negotiating directly with Hamas. You negotiated with Hamas a year ago. Actually, you handed them 1,000 prisoners. Nobody's asking you in the world to negotiate with Hamas, but we are doing it secretly. Who are asking you to negotiate with, and who are begging you actually to negotiate, has been behaving actually greatly, is the PA of Abu Mazen. You ask them security in the West Bank, prosperity, and you know what? You're actually humiliating them, not giving anything, and increase the settlement. For 7 years, Mr. Netanyahu, Prime Minister Netanyahu, didn't give Abu Mazen anything, and actually empowered more Hamas, because the moment Abu Mazen went to the UN, he negotiated with Hamas over Gilad Shalit, released prisoners, and you're sending and setting up a very dangerous precedent. If Hamas send missiles, we negotiate. If Abu Mazen behave well, we don't do anything.
Let's let Naftali respond.
These are lots of words that are just covering a simple truth. The simple truth is that we handed over a piece of land, 100% of it, to the Palestinians. They founded a state. 10 days after they began shooting at us. Every time we hand over land to the Arabs, they begin shooting at us. What we have in Gaza Strip is sort of a Al-Qaeda-type state that's full of terror and has one goal, and it's to eliminate Israel. I want to tell you, Aaron, If there's one good news from this week, it's wall-to-wall consensus in Israel that we have to defend ourselves. We're determined to do that. We've got thousands of soldiers just waiting to defend our children, and we'll do that. Let's not confuse. There's right and wrong here. The wrong side is the aggressors who start shooting missiles at us. The right side is us who are defending ourselves. Let's not make that mistake here.